Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me again. This is the first in a series of videos focusing on using Webpack 4 with React. Keep in mind that it's late October 2019, so by the time you see this video, either React or both React and Webpack may have been updated, and several times at that. Also, if you're familiar with Webpack and you're just looking to get up and running with Webpack and React, you can jump to a later video where we actually introduce using Webpack with React. For these first couple of videos, maybe the first 3 videos, we'll be looking at just a simple JavaScript application and how to use Webpack with that. And actually in this first video, we're just going to look at 2 different ways in which we could run our applications in the browser. One will be with something called Live Server, and the other will be with the Webpack Dev Server. So let's take a look at this very simple and really admittedly terrible example I've created here. This example app. I've got 4 files. Alright, it's got an HTML file, a couple of JavaScript files for functionality, and it's got some stylings. It has a style sheet here. You can see that there's a button included in my project, and it should be a red colored button. And you can see that the background of the main application page should be black. However, when I open up this project, or at least open up the HTML file, I see the HTML there, and I see the JavaScript functionality here. Right, and that's because I've got a couple of set timeouts working to display this text. But I don't see the black background that I should have. Recall in my style sheet that I set the body background to black and the button to red. And of course we don't see a red button either. So all of our files, the JavaScript, HTML, and CSS files, aren't all being brought together to work as a single application. So what we can do to make that happen and run our app in the browser correctly is use something called Live Server. And if you use Visual Studio Code, you can just install that extension, right? If you type in live, it should come up. Yeah, Live Server, you can install that. I've already got it installed. So all I need to do is go to my HTML file, right click, and open with Live Server. All right, and there's my application. And you can see, what? Huh? Oh, damn. Gets me every time. Anyway, you can see that my background is black as it should be, and that my button is red according to my style sheet. So the application's working. Alright, so that's one way to run your application in the browser. Alright, and we'll go ahead and stop Live Server now. Okay, another way is to use the Webpack Dev Server, and to do that we'll have to make this a node project. So first I can just do npm init. We'll do y because we don't really care about all those questions. Right, and we can install a few dependencies, and these will be dev dependencies, and they'll be Webpack, Webpack CLI, and Webpack Dev Server. Right, and while those are installing, we can set up a script for our dev server in our package.json file. And we'll call that script dev. And we'll just run Webpack Dev Server. Okay, so those dependencies are installed. Excuse me. So what happens if we run or attempt to run our dev server? Alright, we get an error. Let me expand this a little bit so we can see. It says it can't resolve the source folder. And in particular, what it's saying is it can't resolve the source folder with an index.js file in it. In fact, if we go to... Sorry about that. Let me drink a little water here. It's a bit dry out today. Alright, if we go to the Webpack page, alright, and for now, let's just go to configuration. All right, it's set, for example, in their configuration example, they've set the entry point to be /foo.js. But actually the default entry point, the one that Webpack always looks for, is here, just a moment. All right, it's src./src/index.js, right? So it's always looking for that index.js file in the source folder if we don't give it a specific entry point. And so what we can do for our project is add that src folder, and then we can move those files into it. Okay, so if we restart the dev server, okay, and then we go to where we should see our application running in the browser, which is at 8080. We see the listing directory, right? Or basically the directory listing of our project. And that's because we need to set up a Webpack configuration file to make sure that all of our files get pulled together and run together as a single application. All right, so what we can do is we can create the Webpack or a Webpack configuration file. And let's just call it webpack.config.js. And the reason we'll do that is because that's the default Webpack configuration file name that Webpack looks for. All right, and if we create a simple, if we just keep it simple to begin with, we'll do module.exports. We'll say mode development. And we'll say dev server. And use the property content base, and we'll set that equal to our source folder. All right, what we're saying is that all of our content is going to come from the ./src folder, or the source folder. All right, and if you're wondering why I'm doing that, we can just go to Webpack Dev Server. This is an official Webpack page here, or webpack.org page. And you can see that when you set up your dev server object, you've got this property here called content base. All right, we didn't set ours up this way. We've set ours up just as the src folder. Okay, and if we run our project now, we refresh the page, there's our app. And it works. So, what? Oh, damn, got me again. All right, so yeah, our application's working. And if we don't want to have to manually open the page every time, we can change our script a little bit. We can say -- open here. All right, so if we run it again, it opens up automatically for us. And there you go. Also, as I said before, webpack.config.js is the default name of the Webpack configuration file that Webpack looks for. For example, if we rename this to be webpack.dev.js, and then we try to run the dev server again, all right, this just takes us back to that directory listing, the project directory listing that we were getting before. So all the files aren't getting bundled and used together correctly. But we can remedy that. We can keep the file name that we want, and we can remedy that by going into our dev server script, --config, and then the path to the file that we want to use. It's not src. Okay, so now we've specified the configuration file that we want to use for this script. Alright, so if we kill the server and start it up one more time, there you go. So like I said, it'll look for that webpack.config.js file name as a default, and if you change the file name to something to a custom file name of your choice, then you'll need to let Webpack know that in your script, the script that runs your dev server. Anyway, I'll stop there for today, and hopefully this has gotten you more interested in Webpack and what it's going to be able to do for you. We haven't even started yet. This is just basically, we looked at 2 ways to run your application in the browser, and one way using Webpack Dev Server as part of your Node project. So anyway, I'll see you in the next video, and we'll look at how to set our application up for deployment using Webpack. So as always, thank you for checking me out, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.